Here we go, back in the building. SomeBuddies Podcast, episode 18. My awkward intro, as always. We got the usual suspects in the building. We're missing my man, J-Mac. Shout out, J-Mac. But we got to my left, Mr. Justin, Mr. Author of The Now, 10 copies sold on Amazon Prime, The Recovery Conscious Mind. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. It's actually a really good book, if you see that.
Yeah, you better go cop that.
Yeah, buy that shit.
Yeah. Support.
Yeah, please.
We got my man in the building, Mr. Chrissy Ladusky.
Yo.
Yep. I don't
no book. I don't got no book. Nothing.
Yeah,
no app.
yeah.
But he's got some
Yeah.
fresh Yeezys on. He's got some fresh Yeezys on. There you go.
Thank you, Adidas.
Come up. And we got a special guest in the building, my man to my left, which is perfect segue into what I want to talk about tonight, which is the fucking grind, the hustle and the grind in all aspects and area of our lives. But we have Mr. Grind himself, Mr. Matt Gannum.
My man.
What up?
Welcome on the podcast, sir. How we living?
Yeah, we living good, man. Glad to be back.
Hell yeah, glad to have you back.
Yeah, always good. Like-minded people.
That's it. And it's so what I want to get into tonight, because we got a lot of stuff going. I know, Matt, you got some new stuff cooking. Yep. Justin's on the grind right now. He's got an app in development that he's super excited about. Obviously, I got some stuff going on as well. Chris got Yeezys. But
Adidas.
Chris is a grinder too, man. One of the hottest working
Chris
dudes.
is on the market, on the women market, grinding. From what I understand.
Yo, I still haven't got hit up. This is like the third time you guys are mentioning it. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll happen.
Yeah.
It'll
Some
happen.
fine lady out there really needs to hit my man Chris up.
Hit up Chrissy L.
Thank you, man.
Wifey material only, not one night.
That's right.
One night stuff.
I don't got time for that.
Yeah, he's mature now.
Yeah, that's
He
right.
is. He's
Gifts of recovery, you know?
putting on some weight too. He's getting a little buffed out.
Hitting the
you
gym.
know what I mean? Hitting the gym.
He's on that
strong.
gym grind.
Yep.
That's it.
Stay grinded.
I like it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the hustle, man. The hustle and the grind of all aspects and areas of our lives. I love this. I read this book. I forget what the fuck the name of it is, but it talks about suffering. And I know we've touched on that prior, but it said essentially the premise was life consists of different variations of suffering. And the important thing that we do is finding our reasons to suffer, right? Suffer for something, suffer forward. It's just like anything. If you're going to feel pain, feel the pain of change, feel the pain that comes with reward at the end. Because at the end of the day, these emotions are inevitable. So we should embrace them in a direction of something, right? And so like we can relate it to all different aspects and areas of our lives, the grind of anything positive or any type of change that we're trying to bring about in our lives, whether it comes physical, mental, or spiritual. It comes with a lot of work and a lot of taking action steps forward initially without true permission from yourself, because we really don't want to do this stuff, right? Internally we don't. Maybe mentally we've committed. And a lot of the times I talk about how I've committed mentally. We were just joking about it on the porch the other day. I talked about how I've committed mentally to doing yoga for like 2 years. You know what I mean? I haven't done it yet, but mentally I was like, I'm a yogi, man. I'm gonna get in this shit. I'm getting old now. I'm trying to play basketball, all this shit, and I'm like, I'm gonna do
Pliability.
this. That's it. Tom Brady. I read his book. It's all about the pliability. But so essentially, it's the grind, right, and the consistency of it, and not allowing yourself to be like pushed off of the path that you're on from like the uncomfortabilities that comes with it, right? Because with anything, there's that initial resistance once the uncomfortability sets in, or initially maybe there's some fear around whatever it is that we're doing. And like why I call you Mr. Grind, Mr. Matt Gannum, is because like you're one of the dudes that I know that grinds and suffers forward, you know, and that's a big inspiration for me, to me and to a lot of people, right? And I watch you take actions consistently time and time again to get to where you want to get in life. And I'm similar in nature, and so is Justin, right? We evaluate circumstances and we take the risk in spite of what comes with it. And I know a lot of people struggle with that. I know there's some people listening to the podcast right now that have an internal warfare that's happening with a lot of the I can'ts, or focused in on the how so much that they're crippled in fear, you know what I mean? And without because we talk about, and Justin will chime in, that it's not essentially the how that it is that we're supposed to focus on. It's the what. It's the identification of the what. What are we suffering for? What are we grinding for? What is this? What is the target that I'm aiming? So I have so I have a clear picture of what the fuck I'm doing. Yeah. And you're in the midst of it now, new venture,
yeah.
A new grind, a new hustle, you know what I mean?
Another opportunity opens up. But the grind, man, a lot of people will let other people's opinions stop you from growing.
Yep.
And that's like from where I'm, years and years ago, I remember I told people I was doing poetry. You know how hard it is to do poetry? We joke about it when you talk about doing your dancing. In the beginning, when you tell somebody, when I told my friends, like, hey, I'm going to go out there and I'm trying to make a name doing poetry. Yeah. You know what type of reaction that was?
Yeah.
They all laughed at me. They were all like, wow, something's really wrong. And, they say you can't do this. You're never going to make anything from it. My family was saying it was a waste of time and all that. And a lot of people let that cripple you. People have great ideas. Like I sit all the time with people over like the last few years, and they'll come up with like business ventures, construction companies they want to do. They want to stop bidding on jobs. They have all these things. And then all of a sudden other people will tell them, hey, you're not going to be able to do it. You can't until they stop believing it. And then they fall into this comfort zone where they just sit in the job that they hate, never progressing in life. And for me, years ago, I hated what I was doing for a living. Like I hated it. I hated waking up every single day. It was like you had to peel your face off the pillow. And I couldn't provide. That's really what it came down to. I had a 2-bedroom apartment. My son had to sleep in my bed with me. I lived with a roommate, his girl, their daughter. They took over the apartment because I was out there like I have to come up with something to better my life. I was clean, but I could barely like just get ahead. And, like poetry was really like the start of a lot of what I did. And I'm an addict. And I got high every day. And I hustled like hard just to make sure I was off empty every single day. And when you take that mentality and you put that into like something positive and you have goals and you're like, I don't care what is in the way of this goal, I'm going to get to that goal. That is exactly what I did when I was getting high. You wake up, I'm dope sick, pissing out my ass, like how I'm going to get high today. I don't know, but I figured out every single day how to get off empty, how to get high, how to make it through. Now, with poetry and where it started, it's like, all right, cool, I'm going to go do an open mic. The first open mic I ever read and performed at, I had a microphone in front of me. I read through a piece of paper into a microphone in front of 4 people, and I knew 2 of them, and I was fucking terrified, right? But I did it, and I just kept doing it, and I couldn't even tell you what ultimately was the goal. I just had a plan that this was going to take me somewhere. My entire life, like growing up as a kid, I wrote. And, the people that I actually shared with, which wasn't many in the beginning, they always told me like I had this talent. And the more I wrote, the more I shared, the more people were like, yo, this is relatable or you should do something with this. And I'm an extremist. I'm an addict. So I started hitting up an open mic every single night that I didn't have a kid. When my son was with his mom, I was hitting up the Lizard Lounge, Cantab Lounge, the Dark Side in Malden did an open mic on Mondays, the Middle East. Then I would do a poetry event. I'd hit a hip hop show and I would network. And that mentality literally has like catapulted me into realizing like you have to surround yourself with successful people. Yeah. So in poetry, in the very early stages, I realized you're talented. I'm going to hang out with you. Let's go to an event together. Oh, you performed? Damn, you killed it. I have to write something better than you. So next time when I go up, I'm trying to outshine you. And you surround yourself with talent that pushes you, right? It pushes you to the next level and it pushes you to do better, or I need to perform better. I need to hit, a lot of like the early stages for me, it was recovery poetry. But then I can't do that in crowds that weren't based on recovery. So all of a sudden I was popping off with love joints or, street life or whatever. I was coming up with these different topics. So I'd hear something that would spark some inspiration and I'd keep going. Now you fast forward to business to where we're at now. Like that's something from even in the early days, it's like, all right, I need to surround myself with people who are successful. Because like if I'm hanging out with those kids that were telling me I'm never going to be shit with poetry, right, that are still sitting in the backyard doing the same shit, 10 years later, they're still doing the same thing, working a job they hate, never getting out of this little box that they constrict themselves with. I realized like, oh, Chris is successful. Justin's successful. He got Yeezys. I don't really, I don't really care about fancy shit like that. But Chris is he's still my guy. But ultimately, you want to surround yourself with successful people just to spark that inspiration that keeps you going, that keeps you pushing, or to have that support for people that are going through it. Because it's difficult when you get to a certain point. So starting with that poetry, eventually progressing to use that same type of mentality in business and helping others. And that's like the basis of a lot of people's recovery. It's like, yo, I want to inspire people to do better. Like that's something big for me, is that I want to push people to see a better life and that they can achieve crazy shit. Because like when I got clean, I didn't think I was going to be anything. You know, I didn't picture where I would be today 14 years ago when I got clean. I never pictured to ever hit a stage, right? That first time I performed, in September 2018, I performed in front of 10,000 people on stage, cheesing like a motherfucker. You know, like the grind of every little step of the way to get to these certain points. And I remember performing in front of those 4. The first time I performed in front of 100 people, I was so hyped. And I'm like, I got to go up there and I got to leave these people with an impression they're never gonna forget. They're always going to remember me. And that's how I always try to go in to like performances. Like I'm going to make sure you will always remember my name. You know, and then it just grows from 100, 500, 1,000, 3,000, and ultimately, you know, to that stadium that one time. It was a one-time deal, but
still, it was a stadium.
Still fucking, it was dope.
It's dope. You talk about, so important
Who says
aspect.
It's not going to be the last stadium. We talk
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
You got plenty of time there, man.
I got some time. But it was dope. It was like, you know, because when you go back in time to when I was telling people I'm doing poetry, or I put a book out in 2011 called The Shadow of an Addict that people told me I was never going to get anywhere with, or it wasn't going to happen. You know, a lot of people will project their fears on you.
Oh,
that's really what
most people will do that.
Yeah.
A lot of people, because they're scared and they limit themselves, so they want to put their limitations on you. And then when you thrive, they're trying to pull you down. And then when you do succeed, then it's like, wow, I knew him. I knew him from before that.
No,
that was my
sure.
guy. We were friends way back when. But I'll tell you, you know how many of those people were like shitting all over me in the early stages, or when I started getting like a little bit of traction to my name, or like the YouTube.
People don't even need to say anything to you, dude. You can just fucking feel
Yeah.
it.
Feel the energy.
Dude, when
No,
people are
true.
against you, you feel it.
Yeah,
Like, instantly.
yeah.
You're like, fuck, man. Get
Well, an
away from
important
me.
point you made too is, so the 7 closest people in your life are considered
Yeah.
your reference group, and your reference group is responsible for 95% of your success failures in life, which is so fucked up. That was a study done at Yale University that I read about. Your reference group, the 7 closest people to you, will be responsible for your success or failure in life, which makes perfect sense to me. You know, like you need people around you that'll fan the flame, right? Whatever it is that are speaking against your fears, you know what I mean? They're not validating them. And like you said, not majority, but a lot of people are riddled with fear. And they have that internal warfare. So when they see someone walking through that fear, it triggers something inside of them, which creates uncomfortability. And so it'll be misguided or whatever it is and projected onto you. Yeah. And so they'll start telling you about, and they can be genuine too in the way that they view the fears of what could go wrong. That's just the way they choose to perceive things.
There's a story about Jay-Z talking about his uncle where he says he wants to be a rapper, but his uncle couldn't fathom the fact that this kid from Marcy Projects was going to be able to get out and sell millions of records. And it's not negative. It's just like, yo, you need to set your sights on something more realistic. You know what I mean? But it's something where I can't judge your limits on how you see things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can choose to ignore those limits and keep pushing and striving towards whatever next goal, next success, next venture, next whatever. I'm going to keep pushing. But, you know, it's not always at like a negative light. Like sometimes it's like, oh, we want you to have like a more realistic look at the world. But anybody that's successful has to have a touch of madness.
No, absolutely.
I agree.
Like you have to have something that like, you know, is off for you to even think that you can get
which
to
is
certain points in life.
Which why I believe a lot of people in like addicts as a whole have a leg up. And why do I say that? Because there's levels of shit that I've experienced in business and all this, levels of fear and chaos that come with entrepreneurship and all that shit that create uncomfortabilities that will cripple most regular people. But feels so familiar to me when I'm in it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I'm not like, oh my God, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, oh no, I lived in this feeling for like years. You know what I mean? This is this type of chaos and fear and extreme unknowing and worrying, like I've been in this place before. I've lived in that for long periods of time, and I got accustomed to that feeling. So therefore, maybe times that I should fucking freak out, I'm not freaking out, you know?
Nah,
So it keeps
you comfort in the chaos.
It keeps you in an action mindset where it's like, okay, we don't fall victim to our circumstances. We become proactive in what it is that we can control and allow time to unfold whatever needs to unfold. And it gives us a better patience in the process of the grind, you know, because we have so much experience of the negative forces that come from what we've been through, and the emotions and the internal warfare that go with that. But
what's that thing you and Nick used to say, right? When it comes to business, like any failures, it's like chalk it up. It's like your college education.
Yo, it's part
right?
of it. You can't be successful unless you fail. And you have to have failures along your journey. You have to have highs. You have to have lows. Yep. You don't appreciate the highs unless you experience the lows. And when you see somebody who's a front runner, right, who's always had, like, everything is falling into place, the second they get hit with adversity, they turn into a mental midget and they fold because they haven't had to experience like complete utter disappointment or heartbreak or like, you know, completely at the bottom. You know, even in the journey of recovery for me, like I've had highs, I've had lows, I've been at the bottom. You know, you have to rebuild. You have to keep fighting. That's one of the things about recovery for me is that I feel like I can accomplish anything. Like I've been able to stay clean off of heroin. I was a homeless IV heroin addict that was supposed to be an overdose statistic, dead or in jail. Right.
Yep.
And I've somehow turned this into like 14 years of recovery, some crazy, unimaginable, unattainable life if you go back to like the way that I felt in the halfway house. Right. And anything that gets put on my path, I have the belief that I will get around it, get through it. I will find a way to become successful regardless of what gets thrown at me.
Yeah.
You know?
well, because statistically you're already a miracle, right?
Yeah,
so,
like
1,000%.
so
I'm not even supposed to be in this seat.
None
right
of us
here.
are.
Yeah.
None of us are
sure.
statistically, and what we've done is miraculous, right? It's taken circumstances from whether it was the environment that we grew up in, the circumstances what we fell into, or whatever it was that we experienced that created the unmanageability and the insanity, and for us to be able to not only come off of drugs and all this stuff, but to commit to a process of an internal evolution of who we are, and to make changes and change the neural pathways of our brain into corrective thinking or somewhat corrective thinking, and to not only do that, but then to be able to do that for somebody else and to help change without essentially with the power of people, right? With the power of connections from other people. My life wasn't saved from anybody with a doctorate. You know what I mean? There was no doctor that saved me. It was another person that had gone through some change, that had gone through pain in their life from the worst circumstances, and they came out of it. And it was me witnessing those miracles first that made me believe that maybe a miracle was possible for me. So the most miraculous thing I ever did was get clean, turn my life around, change the way that I was thinking and feeling, even if it was this amount. Because prior to that, I didn't even think that it was ever possible. I thought that I was internally going to be fucked up forever, and that stuff that I had, that I was suffering with on the inside, was luggage that I had to carry around with me in life. Right? I was always going to have that stuff with me, and I almost had like some sad sense of acceptance of that's what it was going to be and how it was going to be forever. And then I find this process of people like Justin, like so many other people that were like, oh no, there's a whole different path that comes with all these different things, these rewards, like what you've experienced is clean time. There's a whole process of recovery that can occur that comes with an internal change, a changing in the way that we think, a changing in the way that we feel, a changing in perspective, the way that we view ourselves, the world around us, the opening up of our minds to new possibilities. And that shit is fucking crazy to me. Go ahead.
And I remember when I was younger, my mom said you can be anyone and go anywhere you want to be in the world. And at a young age, before drugs entered, I was like, there's no fucking way. But when I got clean and like started hanging around with people like guys like me and like speak my language, because we all speak the same language, you know, it's something a normie doesn't, like that's when I started to believe that. And when you said the 7 people thing, like that's 100% who you surround yourself with. Yeah. Because I've had the friends that are sitting in the back here like, bro, don't do that, dude. Oh, you're never going to make it. You're never going to do that. Well, yeah, if I stay around them, there's no fucking way. Succeed. There's no way. And they do. They come out of the woodwork when a little bit of success and shine, goes on your name. It's crazy. But like the only limitations I said is for myself, and it's out of fear. And like you guys said it, you guys killed it too with, most people tell you, don't take risks because that's them living in fear.
Yeah.
Well, inaction is fear based.
Yeah.
Really, how you express most of your fear is just not doing anything.
Yeah.
Easily.
Which is, the biggest sin because you're not taking, you know what I mean? You're not taking the step. It's like the premise to do the right thing and the right thing will happen.
Yeah.
It's a very small, simple premise, but you do it and it works, and then it gives you confidence to take the next step, take the next step, take the next step. And before you know it, years later, all of a sudden you've accomplished all these things and you're like, wow, but it is a thought form. It's to me, there's a lot to it. It's not just, it's easy to intellectually say, yeah, just do it. You know what I mean? But for me, I need to read books and I need to I need to tap into some higher thought forms than my own. Because I don't know about you, but my voice isn't always Mr. Cheerleader.
I'm the best at not thinking. I just need to do. That's my path of it.
So,
you know what I mean? Which is like even going back to that, like I had to get just from performing the first few times, I had to just get up there.
Yep.
And then when there were times I choked in front of people. It's the most embarrassing thing. I get so heated, frustrated. I'm never going back up there. I'm so embarrassed. And then going up the next day, like, don't even think about it. Go back, do it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
and even taking risks, like you have to step outside your comfort zone to grow, and to grow in life. And everybody has like their different process. Like some, reading books and trying to go through that. I've always been the let's just run.
Just do it.
Just run. I'll figure out the solution in the process. Even going back to like the failure, like I will fuck up in the process. I am not a perfect person. I have never done anything perfect. I learn from mistakes and then adjust and like kind of like on your feet. You know what I mean? Like you make the mistakes on the go, try to change it and make it better for the next time you're going through it.
But you're still moving forward.
Yeah,
is the key.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I get it, and I agree.
Well, and truly, and anybody that if you're watching this in early recovery or anything like that, like the whole reason around like why we do work on ourselves, and let's even speak as though you don't even know what work is, right? So we can break this down. Like I believe in all pathways to recovery. I believe that there's different outlets and different ways that you can get what you can get, but ultimately, I believe in a foundation of things, and I always say the same shit over and over again, and because it's my belief system, right? So the foundation of everything that we have is 3 things, right? Connection, because this right here is the most important thing that I have in my life, right? With this, even it brings me back to the opportunity to get reconnected to source, to get back into trusting in my spirit. And then it's the honesty, right? I have to be in a place of transparency, whether good or bad. I have to be in a place of exposure because it's only through that exposure can I get the help that's required. If no one knows what's going on with me, no one can ever truly help me in the ways that I need to be helped. And I've proved myself and collected the data that I cannot fix me. Alone, I cannot fix me. I cannot help me. Just me alone in the world leads to bad things. And I've accepted that a long time ago. Maybe that's not someone else's process, whatever. And then the third point is communication, relentless communication, whether it's dialogue. And now understanding that the dialogue doesn't always have to be negative. The best things in my life that have ever happened to me started in dialogue. They were ideas that began conversations that I had. We've talked about everything we've ever done prior to ever doing it. Yep. It started with enthusiastic conversation that woke up the spirit, right? Now, with that foundation, when we begin a process of working on ourselves, like why 12-step fellowship in these, it's a collective, right? There's a collective force in halls, in 12-step halls, no matter where you go, and you can feel energy in the room. And there's this instant connection of people in a room that just understand. Like, I know that you know. We don't even have to describe what that is. It's just, I know that you know. And just the fact that we're in the room, everybody's in an understanding of that, right? For the most part. Maybe there's a few people in there that don't. So that right there is a comfort. It gives us the opportunity to connect and to eventually find people, right? Because people are important, the 7 people that we're looking for. We need to have a clear vision of what this shit looks like in the long-term effects of it, right? It's why it's important for guys like us to continue to be a part of the community, continue to give back, which is like why, like especially the three of you are some of my favorite people, because you're committed to new people. You're committed to guys in early recovery, speaking to the part of them that has been put out for so long. But my point of this is it's a lot of work, right? And when we do this work and we start to unravel the narratives that we live by for long periods of time, and we don't know why the narratives are there. Like Justin, he talks about like from like when we were kids, you know what I mean? Like I know Justin's story is a lot of narratives that were created when he was, because I mean in foster care and stuff like that, like ideas of himself that were instilled in his thinking at a very young age, you know? And like Chris, you had a different narrative, right? You talk about like thinking about not being able to live up to your brothers and like you had some pain and some trauma that happened that led, everybody's got different stories, but at some point something happens and it creates a narrative inside of us. And that narrative becomes a reality that we're creating, right? So we become prisoners and hostages to our own self-created reality, and we live true to it. And we hold the fucking key that we've locked ourselves in our own pocket, and we don't even know it's there. So recovery gives you the awareness that key's there and that you can unlock it. But that key, unfortunately, is our truth. Our truth is what opens that door and begins us on a journey of self-exploration. The reason why we want to do self-exploration is so we can get the fuck out of our head and get more in tune with what's in our heart and what's in our spirit. Because when we're spiritually led, it's the stuff that calls to Justin that gets him to want to develop, ascend, right? He felt that long before he developed it. It was something that he felt. If he wasn't passionate internally about it, he would have never done it. Because I've heard a ton of his ideas that he's thought about.
Yeah.
That never came to fruition. You know what I mean? There was a ton of shit that he's had ideas about, but something spoke to his spirit that got him in a forward movement. But he can only get to the spiritual, be in tune with the spirit through the work that he's done on himself. The way that we are we are is through the connection process and through us being in a process of change, right? That's like people like, oh, I'm condemned to meetings and I don't want to do all this stuff, or I'm condemned to like having to live in a place of transparency and like these connections where I'm constantly communicating. It's like, no, we do that so we can have better relationships with ourselves. Yeah. So that we can be in more tune for what the universe has in store for us, or for what God has in store for us, or for what we think we should have in store for us, whatever the fuck it is. That's why we do this work. That's what takes fucking fucked up individuals like us and gives us the opportunities that we have that technically society says statistically we shouldn't have, we shouldn't be capable of, and we should never attain and should never be a possibility for us.
I think it's our God-given ability to be creators. I think we're all creators. I think every person on this earth is a creator, and people express their creative ability differently. Some people think, oh, it's just art or it's poetry or it's no, creation. People create in different ways. You know what I mean? You could do construction, and
Andy's an artist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Andy's an artist. Or people create in all different ways. Whatever you have a passion for, it normally leads to some creative expression of yourself. And so find your passions and then follow them. It's one of the things I admire about you, because poetry led you to who you were.
Yeah.
So you listened to like one of your passions and it got turned into,
It opened up so many doors just by following, something that I was so passionate about.
Exactly.
I remember the first time I heard you share your poetry.
Yeah, you fucking booed me, asshole.
Yeah, I was throwing tomatoes. It was when Brandon Novak came up and spoke. It was over a year ago.
Yeah.
But I was like 2 seconds clean. And Michelle said, we're going to see Matt the Poet. And we sat in traffic and I was already in a bad mood.
And we was outside.
It was outside,
because we couldn't fit everybody inside.
But so many people showed up.
Did you boom?
No, fuck no, dude. Yo, after hearing,
God, dude, I would have fucking.
Yo, after hearing Novak's story, I was literally like in tears. I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with me? He's been through some shit. And then I heard Matt get up. I'm like, this is why.
Novak's my guy.
I get it.
I love Novak.
I get why everyone brags about it, because when he shared, though, you can tell he's passionate about it, because I could feel the pain.
Well, that's the release, dude. That's like, I don't communicate well. I mean, I do better now, but like emotionally, I can't communicate. I'm like, I struggle on how to like get in touch with whatever it is that I'm going through, not just like on a personal level, like past trauma. Like that was the way that I could filter the things that I was struggling with out. And it was, it's a freeing feeling when you can put down like your thoughts when you're going through something, or, you know, I draw a lot on like the past, on different situations of feelings or emotions, and letting it out was like the biggest relief. It's like the weight of the world comes off your shoulder when you finish a piece. And then as like the skill or the talent or the drive or everything that I was building up from the days I would sit alone writing on a piece of paper, not letting anybody know, right? To build up all that courage and walk through all those fears to I did videos, right? I have videos on YouTube. Yep. To putting it out on social media for people to read, to hitting the stage. Like it just was such a freeing feeling to just put it out there and not like, you know, that emptiness that you feel that we fill with drugs. And when we get clean, what else do we fill it with? With women, with buying stuff, with dressing up the skeleton. Well, for me, like writing was like the most fulfilling thing to fill that hole. And over the years, it was, you know, it's just been such a driving force in my life and this freedom. There's no, you know, I have such a freedom when I'm performing. Yeah. You know, and it's just I look at it now like in reflection of the years of doing it, and it is something like I'm grateful for, because I'm not sure I'd still be sitting in the seat if I didn't find that and chase it and keep it going. And even when everybody was like shitting on it or saying that I wouldn't be anything or I'm wasting my time, because for a long time I didn't get anywhere with it. Yeah, I might have got I got like awards and was recognized, but like my life, you know, it was a grind just to get the name out there, and there's no benefit. Yeah. I didn't have no nice house or...
Yeah, but there's an important message of what you're saying, right? Because ultimately you didn't realize that the initial walking through the fear of following, internally you were motivated to do this, right? Yeah. And you didn't understand completely what the journey was going to entail or where it was going to lead you. You just trusted in what you felt and did it. It's not like someone came to you and said, Matt, walk through these fears and you're going to be, it's going to lead you to successes in treatment industry and all these different industries and real estate. And you're going to open up a failing roast beef spot.
Yo, don't be talking about all my failures. That pizza joint was awful. That was a very dumb business
I'm talking
decision.
about one. That was,
That was dumb. I had a great idea though.
It was great. Yeah.
You help them get better. Yeah, you have the housing for them and they get well job who's going to have a recovery pizza joint.
But you don't give an addict in early recovery a job with handling cash.
Yes, that wasn't the brightest
Matt's
idea,
like, why is the register so light? I don't know why, man. We're running out of meat, but we're losing money. We're selling out. Yeah, because everybody was giving the food away and stealing the money.
Yeah, where'd the money go, bro?
Bless your heart. I'm the same way. But the point of that is that people need to don't get so fixated on don't try to figure out what everything's going to look like and what it's all going to be and all this stuff.
Because it will never go that way. You will never. You try to craft the perfect picture of how your future's supposed to be and just chuck it out because it's never going to end up like that.
Well, my story is so similar to yours. My initial fear walking through my fears was dance. The first motivating conversation I ever had with Justin was about not, hey, we should work in treatment together. It was like, you should pursue dance and I want to be a part of that. Yeah. People pushing me towards that. I didn't ever think like me walking through that fear would lead me to, but it did. Yeah. It was the biggest catapult to everything else in my life because it was the first time that I got past the narrative of like, because I'm 25, I'm too old, I did this, all that stuff. It was the first time that I combated the negative self-talk, and it started to change the dialogue a little bit, right? It started to maybe instead of saying you can't to like, well,
you can.
Maybe. Yeah. You know, not even you can yet. It was possibly, like, well, possibly.
There's a chance.
So, and once I started to get possiblies for me, that was a drastic difference from the you fucking can't, definitely not, don't do it, don't try. And now, like, because the dialogue does switch, but it takes work to keep it switched, right? Yeah. Like the way that we have like conversations, myself and Justin all the time, we're like, we can conquer the world. And then we have other conversations where it's like,
yo, the world's coming down.
I'm so scared. Well, I don't know if we can do this. You know what I mean? And so like there's work and there's action that's required to,
But it's the steady grind.
Yeah. Steady grind.
That you can have those bad days where the world feels like it's collapsing on you and nothing that you're doing is going to work and you're not going to be successful. But because of the action that you take day in and day out, you put yourself in a position to succeed, regardless if you have to take a step back or 2 steps back or 10. Eventually, you're going to move forward because over the years from, you know, walking through that fear of like, yo, I want to be a dancer at 25. Like, and I was able to do that. Not me. I can't dance for shit.
Nah,
Chris.
You
Chris
went
is
from
able to.
construction to a poet.
Yeah.
I went from construction to a dancer. We're probably that's
that is-
in the history of ever.
Yes.
That's happened 2 times, and it was and
In
it's
the same
us.
room.
and
We're
we're in the same
We're
room.
in the same room right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
That's it.
Unless there's a dude there's
some-
a couple dudes in the
yeah.
fucking construction site right now. Like
Yo.
any day now, I'm fucking.
Yo, I'm gonna make this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it.
Hopefully, we inspire some dancing
Yeah.
poets right
That's
now
it.
that are
That's it.
fucking out there on the grind.
That's the idea, though. I mean, that's one of the things that I enjoy a lot because I put the shit out there and I got through the fears of people shitting on me or telling me I can't do it. And over the journey, one of the cool parts about the poetry is that other people have reached out to me being like, yo, I used to I write all the time. And then I saw you put it out. So watching you and the way you do things gave me the inspiration for me to share things that I would never do because I was scared of how people judge.
Yeah.
Because people will judge you. People will have those smart ass comments about what you do. And that's something I've always taken pride in when people are like, yo, you gave me the strength. We were talking about it on the ride over here. I was telling you about Amanda, who, she seen me perform one time. Now the girl's performing all over the country. You know
That's
what
awesome.
I mean? And the ability to inspire other people, which is, I know what this is a lot of, this is based off of, is you want to inspire people, not just recovery, not just get clean.
No.
Don't set the bar there. Like you have endless possibilities in your future that you can achieve. Like getting clean is cool. It's great, but you have the ability to do so much more.
Mm-hmm.
And we want you to see that. And we want you to see that you can achieve that.
So
'Cause,
many
like,
addicts limit themselves. In
yeah. It's like, all right, cool. And over time, like even recently, right? Not the situation, but before that, I struggle with ego and gratitude. Is it ego that wants me to do more, or should I be grateful for where I'm at? And due to circumstances recently, it sparked that in of like, yo, I can do more. I can do more. I don't have to just sit and be content where I'm at. Because then you get complacent and you're not growing.
I think it can be both. I think people don't realize that you can actually be in the present moment and be happy while also striving
for
a
more.
better version of
Yeah.
yourself. Everybody thinks it has to be one or the other, and
Yeah.
it doesn't. There's dichotomies to this thing where like you can be in the present moment while also living in, a positive expectation for your future. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? So I don't think it had because I get in these debates about is it this or is it that? And the quantum is telling you it's both.
Yeah.
Les
it's
Brown, he says, accept where you're at, but take responsibility for where you want to go.
I like that.
Yeah. That's dope.
Yeah.
So it's essentially that.
Well, it's energy and thought form. I mean, at the end of the day, they kind of work in conjunction. So you can have gratitude for where you're at while also having, you know what I mean, hope and energy for where you're going and what you want to be doing. I mean, they've even proven that like you visualizing doing something and you actually doing it triggers the same neural pathways. So your brain literally doesn't know the difference between you thinking about doing
Visualizing it
something,
and
visualizing
actually
doing
doing it.
something. And if you think about it, most people have experienced this because it's like someone applies to get into a college and they're just talking to people about, oh, I might be getting into Harvard, and they're all accepted. They're in the life form of being at Harvard and they haven't gotten there yet. They're living in the experience of it coming. And so the more that you can do that, the more that you can start to live in the excitement. So when you're talking about the 7 people, it's about finding the 7 people. 7's a lot, to be honest. Finding 7 people who you can call when you're excited about something and they're going to back
be
you up on
excited
it.
about you.
Because that's how you know.
Yeah.
Like you start to go through your phone and you're like, fuck, man. You know what I mean? You got like 1 or 2 people that you can call and
gonna
then you're
push
like,
me?
shit,
Yeah.
I don't know about these other people. You know what I mean? Like you just don't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Literally. So it's not that easy to just like fill your life with people that are just going to pump your fucking tires, dude.
Yeah.
It's like, but they're out there and you have to find them. And if you find them, they do breathe energy into you. I mean, I drove to Concord right before this because I connect with a guy and we breathe energy into each other. That's just the nature of our relationship. We sat there and talked for 2 hours and it was energizing,
Is that why you were late, Justin?
that is why I was late.
You're
Yeah,
never
that is
late.
why I was late.
You're very prompt.
I know,
He
but I
is.
decided to be in the moment. I was like, you know what? These fucking guys can wait, man.
Hell yeah.
I'm in the fucking zone.
I thought I was one of those guys you get pumped up for.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
make
I
us
mean,
wait.
it is. That's why we're sitting here. But I always get energy after this.
Yeah.
Because we start to talk and it creates energy. But it's like You got to find the people that create energy.
Yeah.
Because, dude,
There's some soul sucking people out there that.
and they'll kill your energy.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
man.
Instantly, it's just like,
yeah,
you
like
know?
I'll just shut up now with my positivity. I'm trying to shine on you.
Exactly. But when you're talking about doing your writing, and we're talking about recovery and reading and all these other things, if you think about it, those are internal actions. So you're living inside out, and there's theories about how we're magnetic beings. So it's like we're responsible for our field. You know what I mean? So the more energy you start to produce, like from the inside out, because it's an inside out thing. The problem with being addicts is we try to live from outside in. We're like searching for things outside of ourselves to feel good. But in doing that, you're actually creating a negative, you know what I mean? You're creating an emptiness within yourself. Anytime you're reaching outside yourself or you're looking outside yourself, you're actually creating a void, a hole. So when you can live from the inside out, you're actually living through your power. And whether you realize it or not, it's not always. The cool thing about it is you'll start to attract things that you don't even know. So it's like you're doing poetry, but then you get a job as a marketer because you're putting yourself out there. You know what I mean? And then before you know it, you own your own business. And to say that it didn't contribute, it 100% did, but
absolutely.
it contributed.
Just taking one leap of faith.
Yeah,
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, and breathing
And
life
that's-
into who you are, because who you are is where all the value is. People don't realize that, like, it's less your skills and more like being able to personally be, in my experience, like, maybe it's just me, but all the success I've had, I'm not fucking that good at anything. I don't know what it is, dude.
Why are you guys selling yourself short?
Dude, the insecurities in this room are
I mean, I'm
ridiculous.
good at a few things, but dude,
my
I
God.
did
You
computers.
just have a book right there. It's cool,
Yeah, I
dude.
did a computer,
You an
yeah.
entrepreneur. You a business owner. You made MTV. Oh, ain't no big deal. You see
Yeah,
that shit,
dude,
Chris?
it's crazy.
Oh,
I mean,
neither one
Chris
of them
is
have
Chris
no
is a
talent.
nasty dancer.
Yo, my 7 people, right? Not only do they motivate me, but like if I have questions about like, you know, even like life stuff, like applying for a car, like mortgage loan, right? That was scary for me. They'll tell me how to do it. But like this one saying has got me through so much shit. They're like, stop being a bitch and do it.
Yeah,
I'm just like that's the type of support I have, but that's what I need.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. It wasn't like, coddled or anything like that. Like,
Sometimes you got to figure the things out. You need that.
dude. Like,
Hey, help me with this. Nah, dude. Go figure it out on your own.
don't be a little bitch.
Yeah.
Let me know how it goes.
While I was on my phone, I was looking for this quote or whatever, but I found it. It says, a wise man once said, be careful who you let on your ship, because some people will sink the whole ship just because they can't be the captain.
Straight up.
Yeah.
That is some real shit right now.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were talking about that. It's a sad truth.
Yeah.
But and I tell everybody this, right? Because when people are in a fearful place of being transparent, right? That's why I love Justin to death, even though we bicker and stuff like that, because he freely just he lets it, and I do the same, right?
Yeah.
And he allows me to be that, and in turn, like it's reciprocated. But it's when you go through this process and you're starting to live in a place of truth, right? That's why we love like people like who are complete individuals. They just living transparently in who they are, right? Especially for Aquarians, we're very introverted, kind of fearful of like full exposure at all times. And so like myself and Justin are very drawn to like very extroverted people. And so, like, I've done a lot of work around that, and I give people, when I talk to them about, like, being transparent, right, putting yourself out there and allowing yourself to be free, and people are always, like, bring up being judged, and I always tell them, you have to accept that you are 100% going to be judged. Yeah. You have to dare to be different, and in your being different, you're going to attract like-minded people. Yeah. So it's like you almost have to sacrifice a part of yourself and allowing yourself to look stupid, feel stupid, whatever it is, because it comes with the negative emotions. Yeah. You can't escape that, right? So it's a true, real vulnerability that you have to experience. But the reward of it is this, right? The reward of it is the relationships and the connections. And like you can only have these type of relations. Like I tell a story. Me and Matt became friends because when I was supposed to be networking with him to try to get us to work together with like relationships, because we both were working in treatment. I was in a sad place in my life and brokenhearted, and he asked me if I was all right, and I told him no, I wasn't. I was devastated. I told a stranger that I was heartbroken over my ex, and I was fucking devastated and all this shit, and like I just opened myself up. Now probably some of the time, a lot of people would be like too much information, and maybe if it was a different individual, same situation, that person would have been like, oh yeah, sorry to hear about that, dude. Have a good day.
Good luck.
Here's my business card.
Those are the people you're not supposed to connect with.
No,
That's the thing. It's like everybody's concerned. You're right, because people are concerned too much with like, if the person's gonna criticize you, that's not the person you want to be connecting with.
And
you
that's
just
the
like
point.
let them go, dude. It's like when you guys were giving me dating advice on how I had to be when I got back in the market with Christina, and you were like, oh, don't fucking lead too much. Dude, I was crying in her fucking bed like a fucking month in because, dude, she exposed me. I was madly in love with her. You guys were criticizing me for it.
Yeah.
We're fucking married, dude.
Yeah, you guys are
It
in a
is what
great
it is.
relationship.
Dude, I'm madly in love with her.
Oh.
I
I couldn't help it.
That's the luck of the draw on that one,
Yeah.
because 10 out of 10 times prior to that girl gets freaked out
Yo,
and runs.
see you later.
So
Yo,
you
come
just
pick me
happen to
up.
find your soulmate.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But
So-
I wasn't scared to. I mean, at the end of the day, you can't be scared to be who you are. And you can't start to decide, oh, you have to be like this or you have to be like that. No, you fucking don't. Just be yourself.
Yeah.
Share how you're feeling. Like, put yourself out there. It's one of the things I've always respected about you is you are a genuine person who is like so comfortable in his own skin. And as a result, you connect with almost everybody. And it's a trait that, again, I'm like you, I go back and forth with. At times I can be really personable and then at other times I'm a little bit withdrawn, and I can be, and I'm working on it, you know. But for me, it's something I care about, because I deeply care about people. I'm just scared of people, and I'm scared of being judged. I'm scared of what
That's
people
human
think.
nature.
Yeah,
You know
a
what
lot
I
of
mean?
people go through that, but
It is human nature, but at the same note, it's such a fucking waste of time worrying about what people think about you who
people
don't
gonna
even
have,
matter.
Yeah, people are gonna have their opinions about you one way or another.
Exactly.
you know?
And so it's about finding the like-minded people. And the more that you can express who you are, the more you're going to find the like-minded people.
Yeah.
The less you express who you are, then you just settle in for relationships with anybody for anything that you share. Oh, we like the fucking Celtics. Cool. Let me just
Don't be
fucking
hating
develop.
on the Celtics.
No, dude,
We
I
all
love
like
the
the
Celtics.
Celtics.
Don't get me wrong. I love the Celtics. But I'm just saying, go Celtics.
Go Celtics.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying you can't connect about the Celtics, but I'm just saying
But that is not the deep-rooted connection.
No.
You're talking about the deep-rooted connection. I'm talking shit.
Yeah, I'm talking deep-rooted connection. I'm talking it's very easy to build relationships based on
superficial
artificial,
bullshit.
superficial bullshit. You know what I mean? When the truth is, you want to change your life, find people you can intimately share yourself with. And the recovery process is supposed to give you the permission to do that. We're supposed to go into a meeting. It's supposed to be a loving, caring environment where you can freely share who you are. Does that always happen? No. Are there a bunch of like wannabe tough guys, me included some days, because I'm just living in fucking fear? Absolutely. But the truth is that's what we're supposed to be creating. And the more people like you, and the more, and most days I try to be a man of fucking love and compassion and light. You give
it's not
people.
most days, Justin. You are a man of love and compassion.
I am a man of love and compassion.
I can
and
call
light.
you when I'm going through it, and you've always been there. You act
No,
like,
for sure. But it gives people permission, other people permission to do the same, which is really what this world needs more of.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's so easy to live in the superficial, who am I? And at the end of the day, who we are is we're like energetic beings.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be sharing fucking love and compassion and everything. I'm not saying that material things and all that other stuff aren't important. I think that they are. I think it's an important expression of who you are if it's serving your path and purpose. That's another thing you said that like clicked in a long time ago, but it's like set your aim, but understand what your path and purpose is for that. So then when you start to experience fear, if you just get in your path and purpose, then the fear goes away, because I know for us with business, it's like, it's very easy to get overwhelmed. But when I get back into just what my path and purpose is of like helping another addict, it's like, dude, I love our clients.
Yeah.
I love them. And when I just focus on the love I have for them, everything's okay.
All the other chaos will go to the side.
It goes to the side and everything always works out,
Exactly.
but when I'm focused on, how are we going to get this up? You know what I mean? Or what about these bills? Or what about those bills? The purpose is lost. I'm not doing it to pay fucking bills. I'm doing it to help people. I mean, I know we need to pay the bills. Luckily, we got people that help us with that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not good at that.
I'm the same with you. My vision, I'm genuinely in love with our staff, and I love the clients, and I go to work every day, and I'm blown away that this is, and so when the stress becomes like heavy and stuff like that, I adjust my vision to just understand what am I going through this, what am I suffering for, and then I'm able to like look around and be like, okay,
well, you got to take the moment to reflect, like. Look at the impact that you have, not just clients, staff, like the community. Because I'll tell you on Monday night while we was at the Revive tournament, sitting there, and just over the years of like our connection and our friendship, the amount of people that you guys have impacted, the community you've developed, like the deep rooted ties to like helping others, like is clearly felt. Years in it. Thousands and thousands of people you guys have had an impact on. Connections, whether it's directly to you or indirectly because of you, that you guys have created is something that's like, I sat there and I'm just in amazement looking at it. You know what I mean? Like from all the relationships that you guys have. And that's not work. That's just what you guys do. It just happens to be what you do for work.
No,
well, it's
you know what I mean?
Yeah, if you love what you do, you
never
work a day in your life.
I appreciate
and everybody should work on that. It's not easy though, but you got to face your fears and start to take risk. If you want to do what you love, you have to take risk. In my experience,
I agree.
100%. It's not going to just come. I mean, I worked in a job for many years that I did not love.
Yeah.
I was good at it.
There's a lot of people that are out there making good money at a job they hate.
They're miserable, yeah.
Miserable existence. And like, we don't have a long time here.
I didn't get clean to be miserable either.
No, not at all. Like, the amount of time that we have on here, you shouldn't be at a place where you hate what you do every single day. You should try to chase something that you're passionate about and that's fulfilling and rewarding, because like, then, it just energizes you day in and day out to show up and go the extra mile. And then even, compound and push forward on that to be even more successful doing it.
Well, and the joy's in the journey. So at the end of the day, if work is what you do the most.
Yeah.
So if you hate your work, like half your, 3/4 of your life.
You're going to be a miserable man.
Sucks.
Or woman.
Yeah. I look at it too, like I just have so much to learn, and I'm on this grind, and I have my foot in between order and chaos at all times, like what Jordan Peterson talks about. Like that's the ideal state for a human being to be in, truly, because it gives us that feeling of being alive. We don't get to deteriorate in our comfortability, or I call it our. You say sitting in your comfort zone. I call it sitting in your uncomfort zone, because technically you're just comfortable being uncomfortable, right? Yeah. You don't have the energy just to get you past getting up. But I want to be able to, when my children grow up, to have so much data and information collected to pass on to them about so many different things that their father just took risk after risk and just walked out there fucking clueless and blind and took kicks in the face on the way there because he didn't fully have a grasp, but those mistakes became the lessons that created the blessings because he took the time to learn. He didn't allow adversity and these things to cripple him. And like he kept powering forward. I want to have so many examples of that for my children when they're older, and so much fucking information collected on like whatever you decide to be, dad got you. Yeah. Whatever you decide, I'm gonna be there and aid and support. I don't want to be one dimensional, right? I don't want to just my experience is you work for somebody and you fucking work hard and you hope to God they recognize you, and then you all this shit. Like I want to, like, what do you want to do?
I've been trying to teach Krishna to have his own. You
Fuck
know what
yeah.
I mean? Like from when he was making comic books, like he was running around my old office selling them things $1 a pop to people.
That's awesome.
You know, trying to teach him to be an entrepreneur, be a leader, not a follower.
Yeah.
And then even with like the circumstances I'm going now, it's a life lesson that you're gonna get faced with adversity. You're gonna get knocked down. You got to get right back up and keep clawing. You can't play a victim. You can't sit in your pity pot. Why? Oh, woe is me. Or why did this happen? Nah, it's all right. This is a perfect time to teach him. Like, all right, you have to rise up, face adversity, and push forward, and thrive through it.
Yeah, we talk about building entities and stuff like that. We have these crazy ideas that we want. And they're not even crazy. They're crazy to other people. But we want to build up entities to the point where all of our staff has profit share and they're invested in the when the business is doing good, everybody's doing good. Like
I want to build a fucking spiritual commune where we all live fucking in houses.
The cult.
Are you gonna have?
Back.
I don't know.
the cult is back. Hey,
welcome
back, love cult.
Yeah, let's get it. Let's get it. Are we gonna come up with a religion? Because tax-free living is not a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean,
we can have the Book of Justin.
I like where this is going.
This is the Bible. This is the Bible.
The Bible is right there, and we will not pay taxes. So if you want to join,
we're gonna buy Lamborghinis,
we'll buy,
and the whole commune can use the Lamborghini.
Yeah, it's profit.
We're gonna buy
Lamborghini
Teslas.
sharing.
You know what I mean? It doesn't
It's
have
a great
to
concept.
be. Dude, you don't need to live in a commune and
You
be
gotta-
poor.
you gotta-
we can
but
live
you
in like
gotta-
a rich, badass commune.
We buy.
all right?
Well, you can.
Everybody's
do that.
welcome. We're gonna share resources. We're gonna share
And
love.
you can do that in New Hampshire because you can buy like mad land.
Exactly.
And mad
Hell
nice
That's
yeah.
what
houses.
I'm saying.
Live
And
for
it's
your
America.
time, baby.
And it's America. You know,
Yeah.
Massachusetts not so much.
I'm fucking about it.
Yeah.
Let's get it. I'm with it.
Yeah,
No vaccines in our fucking commune. Just to let you know.
I'm not letting none of that.
No. Yeah.
But I rock with the Book of Justin. Let's get it.
Hell
No
yeah.
taxes though, right? We gotta
No
just
taxes,
file to be
no
a church.
taxes,
Church, no.
Instead of a cross for a necklace,
We're
it's
gonna stay
Justin's
off
face.
this.
It's just yeah.
Is that Jesus? Kind of.
No, it's Justin.
I mean, you are right. We've sort of created that in Nashua anyways.
That's yeah.
I just want to have like our own little city.
No.
I want to
guys
like
got-
build out our own little city. Dude, with Andy and other stuff, it could happen, dude.
Yeah, shout out Andy All
Yeah.
Construction.
Yep.
That's not.
shameless plug.
We need a few years, but I feel like we're working towards this.
I mean,
I
do
believe
too.
it. I believe it.
I want. It's like anybody that's around me. I tell Chris all the time, like, what do I tell you to do with your money?
Save it.
Because you're gonna do what? Buy what? What
Damn,
house?
you don't pay
Yeah.
attention, man.
House,
You
yeah.
gotta pay
How many?
attention. Mad house.
He wants. I would say seven or 10.
Yep.
How many properties?
Yeah, dude.
Yep.
Well, these are the
After
things
X
none of
amount,
us.
it becomes.
Yep.
You
So
can live.
nobody taught us these things. These are the things that we had to learn on our own.
From
purchasing
fucking
property.
books. We had
Yeah,
to read
from-
books and
Nope.
shit like that. And
We had to go through the fire to learn these things, and we're trying to give gems. Like I push on everybody, like buy property, get your house, get stable, stop paying rent because you're throwing money away.
First thing I asked him, what's your credit look like?
Yeah,
Yep.
We're fixing your
Fix your-
credit.
Yeah.
yeah,
From the jump.
yeah.
Well, because I started when I was
Yeah.
fucking 30, bro. I started
was
doing this
so
shit when I was
behind.
32, dude.
I
It's
was
like,
wicked far behind.
I'm like, God damn, man, I could have done this so long ago. I'd been fucking clean for like 10 years
Yep.
at that point. I was
Crap
clueless.
credit.
I just didn't know what I didn't know. I still don't know a ton of shit.
Yeah.
And 5 years from now, I'm going to be pissed at this version of me
Yeah.
No,
for
I know.
being so fucking
Yeah.
clueless about shit.
Yeah.
But I stay in a place where I'm constantly trying to evolve and learn, right? And the first thing I want to do, and he's the same way, we learn about something and what do we want to do instantly?
Yeah.
We want to share it and teach
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean? If
Well,
something
that's how you
inspires,
ingrain it.
that's true. Oh, no, that's the best way to retain, too.
yeah, yeah,
to
no,
teach it.
absolutely.
Yeah, let me
Second,
teach
we're
you this.
charged up about
I read
something
it the other
or,
day in a
Everybody
book.
or
else knows
inspired,
about
you're
it.
all on it.
Yeah.
You're all in it with us.
Exactly. It energizes it though,
No,
so it,
no,
it
for
like
sure.
I'm good at energizing information.
Yeah, no,
But I believe. I mean, I have to believe in it though. But
Yeah.
dude, there's so much amazing information out there to be taken in that can inspire you and make you a better person and make you strive to do more and be more. And the more that, for me, the more I digest that information, the better man I am. It's like, dude, I was listening to a podcast with Aubrey Marcus. He was talking about a dark retreat where literally you're in the dark. They have these houses. You're darked out for 7 days, but after 3 days, you start hallucinating and seeing visions for like 4 days straight. You get into this DMT state. I'm like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Sounds like there's drugs involved.
No, there's no drugs. It's your own drugs. Your brain starts to produce more melatonin,
Yeah.
and you start to have visions for like 5. Dude, Aubrey Marcus, he's the man. Like so, but
Maybe we can get on it to sponsor us.
yeah, that would be sick.
Joe Rogan.
Alpha brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So, but
That's what's crazy though. It's because like hearing Michelle's story, like everyone's story here, but like that's the inspiration needed because, you know, even at 6 months clean, I was like, I'm never gonna be like, this is it. Like I'm gonna be living in a sober house, which if that's your goal in life, that's good. But like I was like, this is it. Like dead end job and everything. Just like, you know, you're talking about your poetry and like how it like spiraled into like not just you building your poetry career, but like who you are as a person today, your dance career, or even with you, Justin.
God works in time.
It's
it's
crazy.
The universe works in time. People need to understand that too. Time is part of the equation. You have to give things time.
It doesn't always happen overnight.
No,
It's
my
years.
first job in recovery was at Auntie Anne's Pretzel Shop.
Yeah.
Great
I was
pretzels.
doing roofing for $7 an hour.
Yeah,
Damn,
but
that's a hit.
$7 an hour.
It's like
Lugging bundles up to the roof, dude.
I was still kicking. I was like 130 pounds. I
Oh
looked
my
like
God.
It was great.
My dad always told me, he's like, you're on the radar. You're fucking on the radar, right? Because it was who I hung out with, and because I made bad decisions. It wasn't even just always them. It was me, right? Yeah. But then, like, to hang out with guys and, like, them, like, try to, like, motivate you and just, not even just, like, by telling you, like, trying to direct you, but, like, yo, they were a drug addict, considered hopeless, like, junkies, everything. And that stigma that we're fucking, like, that I heard about and I thought is bullshit because now there's hope installed. It's crazy. And you didn't know me from a hole in the wall. You were telling me this shit. I'm like, what the fuck is this guy telling me this shit for?
Because then you're going to in turn take what he teaches you. And then you're going to teach that to the next group and try to inspire them. And it sets off this chain reaction that's going to affect a ton of people.
It's the ripple effect. And it's
the Mahari effect. Is that what they call it?
Yeah, it's like how we affect change, and we all got to realize on it. Change starts on the individual level, right? It's the work that we do on ourselves first and foremost, and then we pass that on to somebody else, and then the ripple effect occurs, and that's how you literally, like, people wonder, like, oh, how can I do my part in this? When you look at it in a grand picture, it seems so overwhelming, but when you break it down to the individual level, it starts with you, starts with your home, and then it starts with people, the people around you. And it's and the best investments that you'll ever make in life are into people, right? They come back with the greatest reward, that feeling, right? I was just talking to Matt about this. We were at my son's baseball game, and like I know I'm here to serve. Yeah. I know that I am. I know my purpose in life is to serve. Now, what does that mean? That means that my greatest reward that I'll ever experience is for what I can do for others, because I've already attained material stuff that I thought that I would at some point make me happy. I did that a long time ago. I collected the data on that, and it does nothing to me. Mm-hmm. The only thing that's ever fulfilled me is when I serve. It's you call it serve God, serve man, serve the universe. But when I'm in a place of service, how can I help? Who can I help? Right? I am the most fulfilled that I can possibly be. And it's not even just with addicts, right? It's with like anybody, anybody lost that requires some sort of, I'm always open to be used as a vessel. And like my wife and people around me, because sometimes that doesn't always go good.
No.
Right?
No.
But you have to be in a place of acceptance, right? Because it's not about, I have to look at it like this isn't about me. Yep. Right, I'm just playing my part. God calls, the universe calls, I answer. I don't ask questions because my life is the gift that I've been given for the service that I do. And I'm not talking about the material component of it. I'm talking about the gifts and people that I've been rewarded from the universe, the relationships that I have on so many different levels. First and foremost with my family, the fact that my brothers are in my life, the fact that I have my amazing mother and I have my family, my wife, my kids, like, and then you break the layer, the next layer, I have friends, genuine relationships and friendships that I value, that I can be transparent in who I am around these people, right? My work, like those are my gifts, right? Whether my house is fucking 4,000 square feet or 1,000 square feet, like it's irrelevant to me. I've already in terms come to like, could I still be happy? The answer is always yes. If everything was changed except for this part of it, could I still be happy? Mm-hmm. And the answer is yes. And so that's why I find that, and some people, that's not their path, right? Some people don't, but I know that. And what me and Matt were talking about was something important, because it's hard to serve without expectations, right? Mm-hmm. Because when you put expectations on people or situations or anything, people are going to let you down. Mm-hmm. The best of people will let you down. I've let Justin down before. Justin's let me down. I'll let you down at some point, Chris, and you'll let me down. Mm-hmm. It's just, it is what it is. That's human nature, human frailty. That's just people being people, humans being humans. It's detaching myself from the expectation of anything and just doing it from a place of love, which is hard. That's what essentially unconditional love is, right? That's the truth. The way you love your child, there's no conditions. There's no falling short that's going to make you disconnect that love from them. right? And so we have to have that same relationship with people outside of whatever it is that they present back to us, which is fucking hard, especially when you're a person that has a mindset of like being, which is Matt, one of your favorite like things about you, which made me like fall in love with you as a human being, right? Who you are as a person is that's your gift and your curse. That right there, that you will invest everything into people. You will put people on. You will do a million things for whomever, whenever, wherever. What do you need? How do you need it? And all that. And I identify with that so much. And then I watch the pain of what happens that it causes, because it's inevitable, right? Yeah. When you see the other side drop, and when you look around, who's really there? Yeah. Right? That's the whole thing. A true friend walks in when the rest of the world walks out. Mm-hmm. That's where you learn. And those are the most painful lessons that we learn. Or when you see like what you thought is as an invested relationship that you've given, and then it's not reciprocated, right? It creates pain, and it's hard to detach from the expectation component of that. But we have to, because unfortunately that life is going to bring about a lot of those situations. Go ahead, you're going to say something.
Normally it creates pain though, because it's triggering something inside of you actually. Because when you're truly, I was working with a spiritual teacher that was teaching me that anytime someone, not to say people can't let you down, people can let you down, but if you've done something with no expectation, then how do you get let down? You don't. So if you're truly coming from a place of service and a place of unconditional love, then you have a state, like people can't really let you down. You can come from a state of understanding. Do you know what I mean? If someone lets you down, you can understand why. Because at the end of the day, there's always two sides to looking at things.
Well, there's part of that. I mean, there's understanding it. And in the letdown, you still have the human reaction to certain things.
No, for sure. And I'm not saying...
No matter how, whatever plain unconditional, because there's a lot of things I've done without any expectation of things coming back. It just opens your eyes when you get put into a situation and you see like,
Yeah, like Matt could offer me $1 million right now to get rid of you. And then I could get rid of you, and you could understand why I needed to accept $1 million.
I'll take some money for that. I mean,
no, you could understand it.
Yeah.
But you would still have like
hurt.
you were my friend.
Yeah,
you know what I
mean?
Like
some emotion.
Like I figured you would be loyal. You know what I mean? Like which I am, which I would never do. But if that was to ever happen, although you could,
what about 1.
many people could understand. Like damn,
damn. Oh man,
what'd you say?
He said 1.5. He just upped it 0.5.
Yeah. 0.5. I fucking you're getting up there.
Yeah. See.
Then
you could be like, I understand why he had to whatever.
Why he cut
you
me
could.
off.
Yeah.
You know.
But it would still be painful.
Yeah.
And I think that's like.
That's what we were
But
talking
the painful
about
part
earlier,
is normally you internalizing you're not good enough, or you're not like in my journey it's been.
Or you could just be expecting me to be a good friend.
No, I got you.
Never do anything to try to hurt you.
But at the end of the day, if you're secure in who you are and your relationship with God and everything, I'm not saying people can't get let down. I do believe you can get let down, but I also think that there's opportunities to learn things about yourself in every situation. So every time
1.2. Yeah, 1.2 we can negotiate.
Yeah.
I get there's gonna be a human emotion attached to it.
No, I agree. I agree. There's going to be human emotion. I'm not saying you're ever not going to have fucking feelings for how people.
And it's going to be something that you learn from and how you look at it. It's just when you get to a certain point and you look around after you're going through a hardship and you look around and see like certain people's true colors.
And I
that's
give
not
you
expectations. That's just like.
And a lot of my conversations with you, Matt, have been like initial hurt and then the understanding.
It's like no, I get it. I get it. I do understand where they're coming from. It's just I have to process what I have to process going through what I'm going through.
Yeah, I got
I can't. I'm not in a place that I don't have that type of emotion. Like I'm an emotional person, regardless. Like if I really express it or show it, you know what I mean. I bite my tongue a lot because again, there are points that you don't want to feel weak. I don't want to be vulnerable. I don't want to be open with people because, my own fears and insecurities. Because that's really where it comes. Like attachment issues, like childhood. We can go way back. But like, there is that hurt. And we've talked about it for years of like kind of preparation of like when it comes, when the world hits, when shit hits the fan, everything comes down and you're down and out. Really what's around you or who's around you and
who's there.
like who's there.
But the protective mechanisms of fuck that person or cut this person out or, you know what I mean? That's like trying to control the situation and protect yourself. But the truth is control's an illusion. You can't protect yourself. All you can do is put yourself out there with love and compassion and trust. And then even when opportunities of people screw you over, it presents an opportunity to get into, you know, compassion and forgiveness, which is like, I'm reading this book, Power versus Force. Forgiveness is the highest level emotion, even above love. Forgiveness is above love. So it presents an opportunity. We live in a world where too many people default to anger, resentment, and fuck that person. And it's like, that's fine, but that's the easy way out. And if you're going to live in that manner, you're always going to be trapped in trying to protect yourself from being hurt, and you're not going to grow. You're not going to change. You're not going to connect with more people. When you can live without the fear and connect and sometimes get hurt and take it as, you know, and I'm not saying you don't feel the hurt. I know you feel the hurt, but I've been hurt by people along the way that I felt betrayed me. But the truth is they, you know, everybody has reasons for everything. And when you truly love somebody, I mean, when you think about your family members, it's like they can hurt you over and over and over. And at the end of the day, you just still fucking love them. And you're like, all right, I'm ready to be hurt again. Let's do this.
Just open it up.
You know what I mean? Or hopefully not. Do you know what I mean? But I'm just saying, it's like you're willing to like kind of take the wallops more and more. And for me, I mean, my children are young, but I can't ever see not 100% being there for my kids, you know? And I see some people that get disconnected with their kids, but they normally get disconnected with their kids because they choose the route of being angry and resentful and wanting to cut them off, trying to protect themselves from being hurt instead of facing your fear, taking the steps to try to fix it, and living in a form of love, compassion, and forgiveness. It's a fucking choice. And there are too many people walking around living in anger, resentment. And dude, just go on fucking Facebook, dude. It's like crazy, dude.
Go on Twitter.
Dude,
That's
people
even
are
worse.
just fucking feeding into you know,
And
fear
it's
and
like,
hate and all this
cancel.
other stuff.
Like, oh, you canceled. You fucked up. You're
you're
canceled. It's like, oh, you said something bad 10 years ago.
See you
You're
later.
gone.
Yeah.
Everybody's just fucking. And people, it's the most fear-driven society we've
ever had.
I could ever remember.
It's never been this bad.
I've never, and to watch people, literally, we're talking about getting transparent with your truth, and the world's going the opposite. Everybody's fucking suppressing anything because they're so afraid of exposure and someone taking that, because we're saying people will judge you, and that's what a lot of the world is, judgment right now. And it's the judge, jury, and executioner, and you're just fucking boom, you're gone with any type of fuck up, any type of flaw. See you later.
Snap your fingers.
There is no forgiveness or even a trying to understand or even trying to like, hold up. Let's look at because our only opportunity to learn, just like children, is through the mistakes that we make, right? Your kid only learns like what not to touch by touching it, and when to be careful by falling, and like what not to say by saying the wrong thing and getting embarrassed. Like, as adults, we still have the same learning process, although we've developed a lot along the way. Like, we still have to learn and identify certain social cues, how to act in certain situations, what things are appropriate to say, jokes. We're always evolving and learning. And all of a sudden, it's like society's growth is just stunted now. Everybody's just terrified. You know what I mean? And people are just afraid to. So it's going to stunt a lot of people's growth and finding themselves. Like, especially you got a young generation coming in right now that is about a part of like this whole cancel culture and like this or that mentality.
One
like Justin talks of full extremism and tribalism and fucking identity, all this shit.
Disagree,
but it's
enemies.
misteachings, though. It's fucking bullshit, dude, because there's an alchemy to everything. So if you can understand alchemy, you can understand that like everything has its place. And at the end of the day, we can have different opinions about something and still love each other.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But that's what's being lost. It's like, oh, we don't agree about something and fuck you. I fucking hate you. You know what I mean? And it's like, no, dude, like it's okay to fucking have a different opinion than someone, and still both opinions can have a place in this world. It's like we're never going to get to a place where every single person on this earth agrees with every little thing. No. But we could get to a place on this earth where we can respect each other and love each other and have some understanding and respect other people's views and beliefs and have your own, you know what I mean? And you have the right to have your own. You don't have the right to fucking attack people and spread hate and anger and, because someone doesn't share your same opinion.
Oh, of course. Even with the political spectrum, like if people just stopped, called the timeout, and tried to understand where everybody was coming from, like when instead of calling like the Trump supporters white trash America, understand like what are they passionate about and what is it that they're trying to protect. From the left, like instead of like, oh, you shouldn't be on welfare system, you shouldn't be on that. Like try to understand what it's like coming from a specific upbringing and not having resources, and from that perspective, from a young entrepreneur that finally made over $100 grand and is getting taxed out his ass, and he's barely making it to survive in a small business. Understand why he's trying to vote. From this perspective, everybody's got a deep-rooted... Some people just talk shit out their ass and have no real identity, and they just want to create divisiveness. But then there's people passionate on every side of the spectrum that have a reason for thinking and feeling the way that they think and feel. Even some of the worst fucking people or whatever, they have something internally or something that was a part of their life that led them to the place that they are. And we've completely washed away any type of anything that could have to do with the level of like, how could I put myself in this position?
There's no middle ground in anything.
No.
It's sad,
right
man.
now.
It's sad.
And
it
it's
makes
like
it,
so fucking like the whole political system is so outdated at this point. People that are sitting in office for years and years and years that no change is actually being made. And it doesn't matter if you're right or left. It really doesn't. There, like you're saying, there's issues. And it doesn't have to be a left or a right issue. It's a human issue. It's a U.S. citizen issue.
who should get elected should have no political affiliation.
No.
They shouldn't be left
I
or
agree.
right. They should just be like, look at America like a fucking business and just see like, how do we fix this for everybody?
Two options from the large group of people. You only have one option from each one, and we have the illusion that we have a choice of who's ruling our country, who's our leader. It's here's your two choices, one from each party. You have the freedom to choose. It's just not that. It isn't.
Doesn't it boil down to the electoral college?
I don't understand why we can't get to the point where we fucking vote for whoever the fuck we want on our goddamn phones.
Yeah. No,
in the fucking 21st century here. What the fuck?
Because somebody would buy
Jesus
100,000
Christ.
phones or 1 million phones and vote for themselves.
Dude, there's no way we can't deal with that. I mean, it's just, it
You
boggles
should have
my
to
mind
log
that
in
we
your social security number.
Yeah, log in and
then
fucking vote for whoever you want. You should be able to vote for whoever you want. It should be a goddamn consensus fucking vote.
No,
Yeezy for president.
Yep.
That's Chris.
That.
I also think that,
that.
there should be term limits. There shouldn't be somebody who should
yeah.
be. You should not go into public service, right? 20 years and all of a sudden you're worth $40 million. Those are question marks that I have. And I don't believe that anybody sitting in that seat gives a fuck about anybody that isn't sitting in that seat.
Or even if they did, by the time they get there,
they don't care. You know what I mean? They're representing whoever bought and paid for them. They're not there for the people and change.
Well, it's a bartering system, so that's the problem. It's like you become of the system because you go in with good intentions. You can be a new person.
Absolutely. I believe a lot of people.
I'm a Democrat, you're a Republican, so I have a bill going through, and you tell me I'll vote for your bill if you put this into it. So I say okay to that this one time because I'm getting what I want. But then the next time you do the same thing. You want something, but I say, well, in order to get that, I want this. And then all of a sudden the whole system's fucked up because everybody's just bartering with each other to get what the fuck they want. And the true purpose of, like, you have a bill that's supposed to be an economic stimulus bill, and you got fucking 5 zillion different things in there that have nothing to do with economic stimulus. It has to do with everybody get their favors in, so you get the fucking vote. It's like,
and how do you have all these government officials that shut down the entire United States, but not a single person took a pay cut or suspend any of their money? Yet we have how many businesses that will never ever recover from this?
Oh, I got it, dude.
Yet those politicians, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many fucked up things when you talk about the actual system, and that's not a right, left, independent, whatever. That's just my opinion looking at what the fuck is going on over there. That, like, you got people that come in, all of a sudden they go from a public servant to a multi-millionaire in value. You have government, you have governors, you have senators, you have all these people that shut down our economy and hurt small business and hurt American citizens, but not a single person was like, hey, why am I still taking taxpayer money right now while our country is like faced with this pandemic? You know what I mean? And every single stimulus package that was put out there, you know how much money was dedicated to fucking nonsense?
Oh yeah, no, that's what
bullshit.
I'm talking about.
Like
though.
when you read, and the headline will be like, "Yo, everybody gets $1,200," and everybody's like, "Yo, yay!"
Yeah, that's the blinders. Take your $1,200.
Yeah, it's a
Put the fucking
distraction.
blinders on.
It's a distraction. And when you actually read it, and you're like, "Why the fuck is $54 million going here? Why is $100 million going there?" That's not the people. That's not stimulating the economy.
Tell them about the wealth gap.
Oh, the what? I mean,
Oh, it's crazy.
yeah, the wealth gap. We just had the largest disparity in the wealth gap ever in America during COVID. The rich got richer and the poor got poorer.
Yeah.
If you look at, Jeff Bezos and Google and all these companies, they just became ridiculously more rich, and the poor became poorer, and a bunch of small businesses just fucking failed.
Yeah, they died.
Which created even more of a wealth gap.
A
So it's like,
mom and pop supermarket couldn't stay open. A mom and pop hardware store couldn't, but Home Depot can.
no, I
You know what I
gotcha.
mean? Like, it's so fucked up when you look at that. And that's another reason why I wish senators and state reps would rock their, like, NASCAR. You know how NASCAR wears your sponsorship? I would love to see these state reps actually rock who bought and paid for you. Because I want to know where your fucking vote is coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why we need to get an electronic voting system, and anybody gets voted in.
Dude,
And
fire.
term limits.
Time limits are, 100%. And you shouldn't be making money for the rest of your life. You shouldn't get a senator seat and then get the payout for the rest of your life from that.
Yeah, that's
the
fucking
president
crazy.
should not get the payout for the rest of his life of whatever it is. We are like, why is that money going to people who are not in office anymore? You know what I mean? I mean, that's my opinion. So you get elected for fucking 2 years into a spot and you get $100,000 for the rest of your life from the government.
Whether you do a shit job
yeah,
or
like
not.
it's retarded. Or
Yeah.
maybe I'm retarded and I just
No,
don't see
I
things
mean,
the way
I agree. I
agree.
mean, I think, it's a broken system. I don't know. But at the same note, it's the system we have. I don't know what to do about it at this point. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh.
in ways, I feel like we're going to the point where the system's going to fucking collapse.
Yeah.
Well, it's gonna correct itself. I think everything's coming to. It's gonna get worse. I believe that things are gonna get
Yeah.
a lot
I
worse,
agree.
and then I think that it'll get better again. So, also, if you're listening to this, sorry that we went political, but an
Yeah,
even
yeah.
more reason why to grind and become your own entity and your own. The volatility of, like, you see how something can get taken away from you so quick
Yeah.
and all that stuff. But if you're in a place where you're responsible for your future and you're taking the risk to grind to get you to a place where you can have your own whatever it is that you're trying to attain, you don't have to be worried about getting fired or
Yeah.
getting let go and
Yeah.
all that stuff. You can adapt and survive on your own.
Millionaires are made in every recession. So be the millionaire,
That's it.
Dropping gems. Mm-hmm.
And if not, you could just move into my commune.
Move into
Yes.
Justin's love corner.
religious cult
Off the grid.
cul-de-sac.
No vaccines.
A lot of women.
It's coming. I'm married. I don't know what you're talking about, but
I just know every cult leader has, 6, 7, 8,
This isn't a
9,
cult.
5,
10,
12,
commune.
12.
This isn't a scenes commune.
I don't know. I watched Waco recently. I don't know if we really want to be doing that. Government going to come kick down the door.
Yeah, this could happen.
Yeah.
So
Anything else we want to tap into before we wrap this up? Anything profound to say, Mr. Christopher Ledusky?
No, I'm soaking a lot of this in. I'm good. I'm good.
You the future kid.
I stepped out of the political realm when you guys started going off and just listening because, like, I've never even voted. I'm 31.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be the first time that I vote. So, but I stay away from all that shit. But everything you were saying, I agree with. Everything all you guys were.
Well,
Well, New Hampshire,
politics,
we don't pay our staff in New Hampshire at all. Our state senators and our state representatives get nothing. They get like a stipend for fucking gas. It's pretty crazy. It's like on a volunteer basis.
But that's not necessarily a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing either, though, because then you got people that have volunteered who are, you know what I mean? It creates kind of who can do that also.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of people who,
I do.
That's
it-
crazy.
it can
They
go
only
both
get a
ways.
stipend?
all they get is a stipend. They literally get nothing.
I do agree our system's fucked up though.
Sure.
And to make the people think that like you guys have the vote. That's not true
No,
because
we
it does
don't.
go to the electoral college and you get certain number per state. But I think it's 100% outdated. And I think, like you said, I think there's going to be a dip in the economy. It's going to cause a little bit of panic, but it's all going to level itself out. You know, all this bullshit like conspiracy. Like it's too much, man. I'm already.
I'll go off on that too.
Do it.
Oh, we could do a whole
Yeah,
separate
yeah,
podcast.
that's
It's all true.
yeah. There's crazy shit out there.
There
man.
is. It's a sad
shit.
world, you know. And to
So-
think that,
Getting
like,
better.
if I was getting high, would I even
It's
notice
getting better.
any of this shit going on?
It gets darkest before the dawn.
So that means it ain't getting better. It means it's about to get worse.
It is getting worse. I think it's getting worse, but it's getting worse for a higher purpose to get better.
Yeah.
Darkest before the dawn. So I do
No,
think it's going to get
definitely.
darker. I
Yeah,
do
I
think it's
do.
going to get darker in
I
the
agree
next
with
4
you.
to 5 years. I think it's going to get weird. But as long as you know it's getting weird to get jiggy, and you're fucking
Like
know what I
commune
mean?
weird.
Definitely
Yeah.
commune weird.
dude, commune for fucking people in recovery is not fucking weird, dude. We live as a fucking family, anyways. I think we're fucking ripe for the fucking anarchy bullshit because we'll just all.
Oh,
fucking
we're
go.
ready for
We'll
it.
all
We
be
You know what I
good.
mean?
lived in
We're like
chaos
we're
our
like a big
entire
family.
lives.
You know, we live.
We'll thrive through it.
Yeah,
We'll
be
have
good.
our own little
When he
militia.
says commune, I think he's just more so talking about our own gated community. You know
I
what
am.
mean?
Yeah.
That's
Oh, I
what-
thought we was talking trench warfare.
Like,
I'm
like-
talking like Sky Meadow.
Yeah, like Sky Meadow. Yeah.
You got a
Own
golf
all the
club?
houses.
You got a
Yeah.
golf
You know what I
club
mean? We
around
got our
there?
shared
Word.
pool.
Yeah.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
That's
Nah,
kinda what
Justin's not out there living in a tent in a field.
Yeah.
Fucking drinking. No.
You
no.
surviving that?
Nah.
Man?
Butlers.
I'll go
Nah.
back there. We can
This
do
is
that.
fucking this is prosperity fucking commune.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Law
We
of
said
attraction.
Lambos. I wasn't picturing like tents and shit. I was
No,
like,
no, yeah.
You
it's
thinking
gonna be
the highlight.
bougie. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we got to spend all our money on Lambos. We ain't gonna have housing, dude.
Yeah, it's true. We're just sleeping in the Lambos.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I like
Most
that.
And I feel
expensive
like if
bed.
we all pool our resources,
We
could-
still wouldn't afford a Lambo.
well, I don't know. It's an aspiration.
That's it. I'm with you, dude. I'll move there. I'll move there with you.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll see what happens. It's in my scope.
But all right, we're coming to the end of the podcast. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Rich Print Shop and the building.
Yeah,
I want to
yeah.
thank my brother Nico. Give a shout out to my man Matt Gannum. Thanks once again for
Hell yeah.
being on
Thank
the
you for having me.
podcast.
Love you,
And if you made it this far, thank you, Mom. Thank you, Chris's mom.
Love you, mom.
Like, comment, subscribe, share, please.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. We love you all.
Show love.
And if you have any topics that you want us to talk about or any type of recommendations, just leave them in the comment. Follow us on Instagram, SomeBuddies Podcast, and that's it. We out. Peace.
Peace.